if I can walk you through an exercise. If you can't finish it all right now, we won't get a chance to process it because that would again fill the time. But I want to walk you through an exercise to alert you, to highlight you to what I'm calling inner abuse. Many people talk about inner critics. There are inner critics that are not abusive, but there are inner critics that are abusive dynamic, and the shame that enters there. Remember the abuse dynamic? Bang, 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 and then a shaming or healing witness. I want to alert you to that. So settle into yourselves for a moment and bring to mind a criticism you have about yourself. Any criticism. It could be about your body. It could be about your intelligence. It could be about that you don't have good relationships. Whatever the criticism is, it could be one that's around a lot. It could be around one that's around recently. It could be one that comes around and then drops away, it comes around. Let your psyche, your dreaming mind choose one. It won't matter. You can't choose the wrong one. And see if you can hear its voice. David, you're taking too much time talking. You should spend more time doing exercises and answering people's questions. That's a critic. I have that as one of my many critics. And it's getting time. And it's 1:30, and whatever, it's an hour and 13 minutes in, etc. So I can hear a voice. If you're not sure, make it up. You might say, I'm not sure what the critic would say. Make it up. You will be close enough. I guarantee it. People always make up the right message, the critic's message, even if it's in a different word. Make it up. Now here's just a question to reflect on. That criticism, is it connected to a diversity issue? In other words, is that criticism not only a criticism of you personally, but is it likely that other people who are your gender would get that criticism? Or your race would get that criticism? Or your style would get that criticism? Or the way you speak? Or how loud you are? Or how feeling you are? Is it likely that you are in a group that would also get the same kind of criticism? Other people might get this criticism too. That's a deep question worth time. If you're not sure, just put a question mark and reflect on it later. It's very important because critics are always diversity stupid. What do I mean by diversity stupid? They criticize you no matter what you do in the same way, and they usually have the same set of values, no matter what you do, they stay the same, and they don't value any other way of being. Critics are like that. They don't think that there's many ways of anything. There's one way and there's the wrong way, and you're doing it the wrong way. And sometimes it's very important for people to start knowing that the inner criticism is an internalized oppression, not just an inner thing inside themselves. I criticize myself like a Jewish person criticizes themselves. Not only, but very much so. And you may criticize yourself like a German person, or a person from Kenya might. I won't know that, but you will know that. Make a note of that. And here's the next question. Say that criticism again. And notice if you have, say that criticism again, and notice if you have usually a reaction to that. In other words, does that criticism go on and you just don't notice it, or you just feel bad? Usually. And that criticism happens when it goes on, and that voice you hear, when you hear that voice just a moment ago when you said it, did something in you say, ooh, that hurts, or screw that, or I don't like that, or get lost, or I don't agree, or why do you say that? Don't make those up. Notice if that's not happening. You could find it, but I'm not asking you to locate that reaction. I'm asking you to take notice of the absence of any reaction, because most people don't have any reaction to that in any ongoing way. Notice that. Now, how would you think or feel if you believed that that criticism and the lack of reaction was more than in a criticism, it's an abuse scene? You don't have to believe me. Just think about that. Imagine that you knew for sure, oh shit, I'm being abused. How would that change your sense about what's happening? From, oh yeah, I'm criticizing myself, I have a lot of criticism, to I'm being abused on a daily basis. Many times a day sometimes. And instead of telling your friend, I feel really shitty about the job I did in my seminar, I say, I'm being beaten up and abused after the seminar today. You don't have to believe it that way. Try it on. Because if there's no reaction, that may be very well definitionally what's happening. And if there's no reaction, there's shame around that spot. Meaning not only are you getting hurt, but you're likely to walk around not only hurt, but thinking something's wrong with me. Why am I still feeling this way? How come I'm still working on this? How come I'm down? How come I'm depressed? How come I'm angry? How come I'm resentful? You might be thinking things like that. Shaming interpretations that arise out of an abuse scene that's unseen, unwitnessed. Beating myself up. I don't go to my partner and say, oh my gosh, I am in an abuse scene. I'm just sitting here thinking all the things I did wrong. I can't even appreciate, I'm just thinking it's true. I'm identified with that. Please, dear partner, dear friend, dear therapist, bring in some eyes that don't look at me that way, because I'm starting to think I'm a screwed up human being, that I don't deserve to work with clients, that I should never teach again. I'm starting to make interpretations that sound like something's wrong with me, that sound like shame. And that's a very powerful dynamic to walk around with. And we and I can walk around with that for a lifetime. Mm-hmm. All right. Take a moment and just let that settle in. Again, you needn't agree with me. If it doesn't feel like an abuse scene or you don't think that's the way to go, please follow yourself. Don't follow my way. I just want to introduce you to the idea of connecting with that, because we're going to be helping with people in certain areas, certainly around abuse and body issues around the feminine. Masculine too, but we're focusing on the feminine. If you're going to be focusing on that, you have to know there's a lot of assault and shame and body shaming going on. And to be sensitive to, be awake to the potency of that will help you understand what's happening.